Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining in this series where we are looking at the Vishnu avatars concerning the various Navagrahas. So in the last two videos of this series, we have covered the Varaha avatar related to Rahu and the Matsya avatar related to Ketu. And today we will be looking at the Kurma avatar, which is connected to Saturn. Okay. So Kurma, it actually means title. And Saturn incarnated as Kurma during the churning of the ocean of milk, something which is known as Samudra Manthan. Okay. And this story of the Samudra Manthan, it begins with the 54 gods or the Devatas and the 54 Asuras or the demons, the 54 good qualities and the 54 bad qualities of man. Okay. So the Devatas, they decide to churn the ocean of milk. And from an astrological perspective, this ocean of milk represents the Milky Way in the sky. And the 54 Devatas and the Asuras are the 108 divisions of the sky as seen in the Navamsha. Okay. Now, if you look at the divisions of time from a Vedic perspective, we understand that the sun rules half a year, which is called Ayana. Okay. And Saturn rules one whole year, okay, called the Sama. So it takes the sun 1 year or 108 Navamshas to go all the way around the 360-degree zodiac. So it takes the sun 54 Navamshas to go through an Ayana. Ayana is, in the modern context, Ayana is the time period from one solstice to the other. So half of this time is spent in the southern course in the time of the Asuras, and half is spent in the northern course in the realm of the Devas. So this turning of time is actually connected to Saturn. Okay, and astronomically too, this becomes the churning of the cosmic ocean or the churning of the Milky Way. And on an internal level, this is represented by our good and bad qualities and our consciousness. Okay, the Milky Way is a representative of our consciousness. And as I have mentioned earlier, in order to churn the ocean of milk, the Devatas and the Asuras, they put a mountain in the middle to be like a churning rod and used a snake to churn the milk of the Milky Way with the goal of extracting the nectar of immortality, which is Amrita. Okay. So on the macrocosmic level, the mountain is the pole star with the zodiac turning through the sky. And the sun going back and forth to the Devatas and the Asuras represents churning our lives. Okay. On the microcosmic level, the snake represents the Kundalini and the mountain represents the Sushumna or the Sushumna Nadi. That means the central axis that runs through the body and represents balance. Okay. The Devatas, they represent the right and the left channels, hot and cold, the Ida and the Pingala. And when we churn the consciousness with the central mountain or the Sushumna, we seek that which is beyond death, that is Amrita. Okay. So when the mountain was first put into the ocean, it would not turn. So therefore, Vishnu took the form of Kurma or turtle underneath the mountain so that it would be able to churn on the top of something. And that churning represents the churning of our karma. Okay. So on a micro level, this will happen as the sun moves through the sky, and time will eventually ensure that all the karmas get fulfilled. Remember, I always say Vishnu incarnates in the form of in the form of planets to give us the results of our karmas. Okay. And on the internal level, our spiritual practice can churn our karmas more quickly. So Saturn represents all the negative accumulated karma that needs to be experienced or burnt through. Okay. And it is the suffering of sorry. It is the suffering of Saturn that forces people to become spiritual, or to begin work, burning their suffering and negative karmas that attach us to this world. So when we begin spiritual practices and we start working with this Kundalini energy, we start churning our consciousness and working through our negative karma. So we often learn that Saturn is the Karaka for spirituality. So in this way, Saturn represents the foundation and support of our spiritual practices. Okay. Saturn sets the stage so that we can begin the churning. Saturn, remember, is connected to the Apana Vayu or the grounding energy. Okay, he grounds the root chakra so that energy can begin to turn and form form a vortex so that spiritual growth starts happening from there. Okay, the Kurma avatar represents the proper burning up of bad karma. Okay, we either suffer our bad karma or we start doing tapasya and remedies and start practicing spirituality, burning up this karma and purifying our consciousness. So this is the proper way to face our bad karma, okay, through spirituality and spiritual practice, or we will just suffer through life. And this is the beginning of the spiritual path. Okay, spiritual progress will come only when we start facing all the negative karma we have done, which is stored as negativities in our consciousness and revealed as the negative qualities in our actions. Okay. Now coming to the remedial part, Kurma represents the activation and purification of our karmas, as I said. So Saturn represents the highest level of spirituality. And the Kurma avatar is not about dealing with our past negative karma in the most productive way. Sorry, it's about dealing. It's not about suffering our karmas, but it is about dealing with our karmas in the most productive way. Okay. And when we burn our karmas, it is the first sign of spiritual progress. That is the reason when people start some sadhana or some kind of spiritual practice, all of a sudden their lives get disrupted because the burning of karmas can cause a huge disruption, right? So Saturn as the Kurma avatar, it allows us to start dealing with the negativity in our life in a way where we can properly digest and churn it, making it into something better. Okay. Remember, Saturn can make a person very, very harsh from bad experiences in life, whether it is in the past or the present. And when we have bad experience, it is very important that they humble us and make us better people, not when they make us, hard-hearted and harsh. Okay. So Kurma, it brings the moving force to break up blocked and stagnant energy. And again, when it comes to the relationship part, remember that Saturn exalts in Libra, the seventh, natural seventh house. So if Saturn is sustaining a relationship by getting placed in the second house from the Upapada Lagna, there may be a lot of obstacles from the past karma that can come up and break the marital harmony between the partners. So a relationship that is centered on dealing with the problems of the partner is unsustainable. Okay. So the ways to sustain a relationship always involves growing and achieving together, learning from past lessons, taking on new spiritual learnings together and progressing in this way, doing sadhana on and burning up your inner negativities. Okay. So this is going to build a solid foundation that a relationship can be based on. And remember, all the arising problems that happen when we take up sadhana are the basis for this spiritual growth. So, that is, once Saturn starts assisting you in your spiritual growth, it is a very strong Saturn, a Saturn that has been taken to the level of Vishnu. Okay. So how to, how to use the energies of the Kurma avatar? First of all, take up any sadhana that is going to help you. Take up the sadhana of any deity with whom you can connect very easily. And then if you don't take up that sadhana, you can easily chant the mantra related to this avatar. The mantra is Om Namo Bhagavate Kurma Devaya. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Kurma Devaya. Or another version of the mantra which was given to me by my Guruji is Om Namo Bhagavate Akuparaya. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Akuparaya. So both of these mantras, or one of these mantras, if done properly, they are going to bring out the sattvic qualities of Saturn so that we stop suffering in the name of our growth. Okay, so that's it from me in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the content if you find it useful, and leave behind your valuable feedback in the comment section. I'll see you next time with another avatar of Vishnu. Till then, Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.